We have some interesting watch releases this week from Seiko, from IWC, from Bulgari, and many others. My name is Oleg, that right there is Mr. Bond, and this is a weekly YouTube show where we talk about the latest watches being released. Now, let's talk about this new Tag Heuer Carrera Chronograph 42mm limited edition. In 2023, Tag Heuer released this blue dial version of the Carrera Chronograph in a 42mm case. This was a limited edition for the French market only. Now for 2025, we're getting a very similar model, once again limited to the French market only, but this time with a different paint scheme, which I think actually looks even better than the previous version. As far as the case dimensions go, it still comes in a stainless steel case, 42mm diameter by about 15.7mm case height. These watches feature 100 meters of water resistance, and one of the reasons why the case height is so thick is because of the movement. This is an automatic chronograph powered by the movement caliber TH20-00, which is formerly the Tag Heuer O2 movement. Now the movement has been upgraded to have a longer power reserve of 80 hours, and it still beats at 4 Hz. The watch comes with this blue leather strap, which I think looks really good with the overall design aesthetic that they're going for. And as I mentioned previously, I really like how these watches look. I like the fact that they don't have a tachymeter scale anywhere on the bezel or on the dial. I think it makes the overall design look cleaner. Now, as far as the pricing and availability, this is a limited edition to 500 pieces, limited only to the French market, and this watch costs 7,350 euro. Next, let's talk about this new Seiko Prospex King Turtle JAWS 50th Anniversary Special Edition, reference SRPL 81. Steven Spielberg's JAWS is an iconic movie. This year it celebrates its 50th anniversary, and because of that fact, Seiko decided to release this special edition of the Seiko Turtle. Now, at a first glance, I really like how this watch looks. I think the dial looks very cool. It has those iconic colors from the poster. You do see the shark there by the 9 o'clock position. It is kind of difficult to tell. I even showed this picture to my wife and she wasn't really able to see the shark because the hour's hand is kind of in the way, so I think the press photos could definitely be improved. There is still a day-date complication at the 3 o'clock position, and you have JAWS written there by the 6 o'clock position, which looks quite iconic. Now, as far as the case and the dimensions, this watch features a 45mm diameter, so this is the larger version of the Turtle, 13.5mm thickness, and it's about 47.7mm lug-to-lug distance. These watches do feature that cushion design, so on the wrist they do wear better than the 45mm diameter would suggest. It still comes with 200 meters of water resistance, and it is still powered by the same caliber movement as a lot of other Seiko watches in a collection, the caliber 4R36 in-house movement that beats at 3 Hz, and it comes with 41 hours of power reserve. Now, I really like how this watch looks, and I think this is a fun collaboration, but the more I thought about it, this collaboration doesn't really make a lot of sense because none of the characters, as far as I can remember, wear a Seiko in the movie. So it's not like Seiko had anything to do with this movie. They just wanted to collaborate on this 50th anniversary. So I think that's a little bit strange, right? It would be better if one of the characters in a movie was famously wearing a Seiko. But nevertheless, it is still a pretty cool watch. So this will be a limited edition to 5,000 pieces. It is only sold in a few select countries, Japan, United States, Australia, and Taiwan. I'm in Canada, and unfortunately I would have to go through proxy buying websites in order to pick one of these watches up, and as far as the pricing goes, it is $795 US. Next, let's talk about this new Seiko Prospex 1968 Heritage Diver GMT, reference SPB 519. Just a few weeks ago I talked about this blue version of the Heritage Diver GMT, the 60th anniversary. This was a limited edition watch, and I had a lot of positive things to say about it because I thought it was a pretty cool watch. Well, now Seiko is releasing another version of this GMT diver, but this time it's not a limited edition. It will be part of the standard catalog. It still comes in the same case, 42mm diameter, 13.3mm case height, and 48mm lug-to-lug distance. So these watches do wear quite large on the wrist. It still features 300 meters of water resistance because it comes in the updated case. So about a year ago or so, they updated the cases on these Prospex Heritage watches to now feature 300 meters of water resistance instead of 200 meters. They also feature micro adjustments on the clasp, and the overall sort of flow and the feel of the bracelet and the case has been improved. However, the movement still stays the same. Is the caliber 6R54 in-house automatic movement that beats at 3 Hz, and it comes with 72 hours of power reserve, and this is an office style GMT, which is a bit unfortunate, but that's okay, I guess. Now, in terms of the looks, I quite like this white or silver dial with the blue bezel combination. I think that looks quite sharp, although the pricing is getting up there, so this will not be a limited edition watch. As I mentioned, it is part of the standard catalog, and this watch costs 1900 euro. And speaking of expensive watches, let's talk about the new Orient Star M34 F8 watch models. Orient Star is a higher end version of Orient watches. Think of it as the Seiko Grand Seiko relationship. And last year I covered a release of this blue dial version of the M34 F8 watch. This year we got 2 new models, one limited edition, one standard catalog. So first let's talk about the standard catalog version. It comes with this green dial instead of the blue dial, but everything else about the watch remains exactly the same. It still comes in a stainless steel case, 40mm diameter, about 12.9mm case height. It still features the same movement, F8 and 64 movement, which is an in-house automatic caliber movement that beats at 4 Hz, and it comes with 60 hours of power reserve. And as far as the looks of this watch, I am not a big fan, just like with the blue version. Maybe I have to see one of these watches in person. Some watches that just don't photograph well, they don't look good on videos. It could be the case with this model, but just for whatever reason, it doesn't work for me. I think the date wheel is kind of awkward. I think the Roman numeral at the 12 o'clock position is kind of random. And the overall symmetry of the dial with the power reserve, none of it works for me, but hey, to each their own. As I mentioned, there's also this other version, the limited edition version. So this version is more expensive, but everything else about the watch stayed pretty much the same other than the dial. It features this sort of starry sky, you entering hyperspace type of a dial, which does look kind of interesting, but once again, some of the elements on the dial kind of ruin it for me. The date wheel specifically and the power reserve indicator. Without those two elements, I think the dial would look a lot cleaner. And lastly, the Orient Star logo is not my favorite. Hey Oleg, tell me what you really think about this watch. Now, I would be a little bit less critical about this model if it were cheaper. So the limited edition piece is only limited to 160 pieces, and it's priced at 2,900 euro or 3,250 US dollars. The non-limited edition one, the green dial version, is slightly cheaper. It's 2,600 euro or 2,900 US dollars. And next, let's talk about this Bulgari Octo Finissimo Tourbillon with the green marble dial. Various times on this YouTube channel, I stated that Bulgari Octo Finissimo is one of my favorite watches, and this watch here just proves how beautiful these models can be. Is this a watch for everyone? Absolutely not. It is crazy expensive, it is very complicated, and it is in a precious metal case, so it has a very limited market for itself. But with all of that being said, is it cool? Yes. So first of all, the case dimensions, they're ultra thin, just like the rest of the collection. 40mm diameter, 4.85mm case height. Just insanity, because this watch does feature the tourbillon complication. How did they fit it all in? I have no idea. It comes in 18 karat yellow gold case, and it features this green marble dial. I think the combination between green marble and yellow gold really works well on this watch. I don't know why. Usually I'm not a big fan of these types of stone dials. I think they look a little cheesy, but on this version, for whatever reason, I think it works. It is still powered by the same movement as the standard version of this watch, the caliber BVL 268. That's an in-house manual wound movement that beats at 3 Hz, and it comes with the impressive 52 hours of power reserve. This will be a super limited edition, only 30 pieces are made, and this watch is crazy expensive, 140,000 euro. And for good measure, let's talk about another crazy expensive watch in a precious gold case. I'm talking about IWC Portugieser Tourbillon Retrograde Chronograph. In 2023, IWC released this blue dial version of this exact watch that was in collaboration with Lewis Hamilton, and it was made out of platinum. This year we got one made out of 18 karat armor gold. It's IWC's fancy new gold alloy. It still comes in the same case dimensions, 43.5mm diameter, 15.9mm case height, and it is still powered by the same movement. This movement is kind of unique because it combines the retrograde date with the flyback complication on the chronograph and of course a tourbillon at the 6 o'clock position. Not a lot of movements combine all three of these complications into one cohesive unit. So the caliber is 89-900. It is of course an in-house movement with 39 joules, beating at 4 Hz, and it comes with 68 hours of power reserve. As far as the looks of this watch go, I quite like it. Of course, it's not going to be to everyone's liking. It is kind of a complicated watch, but overall I think it is quite elegant for how much complication is packed into this one package. So as far as the pricing and availability, this will be a limited edition to 100 pieces. For whatever reason, IWC likes to do these 100 piece limited editions. I think if you really want to get one of these watches, you probably can. 100 pieces is quite a large limited edition for this type of a watch, and it costs about 150,000 euro. And that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the YouTube channel for more videos like this in the future, and leave a comment in the comment section below. Let me know which release stood out to you. I always enjoy reading your comments. Thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you next time. Bye.